people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
It's time for the True Sports Card Show, the only 1-hour radio show that gives you the very latest in sports memorabilia news from around the world. Here are your hosts, industry expert Imran Pilati.
In Sacramento. Unfortunately, Imran Pilati is not here, but where is he? Where in the world is Imran Pilati? We do not know, but you have two of the better voices that have been on this show before. Good morning. I'm Tim Scheffler, Big Shep, here on the True Sports Card Show live on Sacktown Sports 1140. And with me today, this is like playing catch. I explained this to my wife. Playing catch with George Brett, who's my all-time favorite player. What? I'm hanging out with Whitey Gleason, who is, in my mind, the Sacramento radio legend.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I appreciate he's coming in and hang out with me today and talk cards and have some fun. Good morning, Whitey. How are you doing?
Good. I did used to play third base, and I wore number 5, but that's where the similarities to George Brett is. Yeah.
Close enough. So I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us this morning and having some fun. Imran's out traveling the world. He took some time off. And so he's enjoying family time. And
how nice is it for you to get him out of here for a while?
The smiles on the guys at the shop. I have not been. It's like everybody's. Remember Batman with Michael Keaton and the Joker makeup, and it made everybody smile.
Yeah.
It looks like everybody has perma smile on at the shop right now. The customers. It's been a lot of fun. It's funny because we're passing ships in the night. He comes back. I leave. I'm going to go on a week vacation. And we do this as we prepare because we have our 3-year anniversary coming up.
Wow.
So Black Friday weekend, the event weekend was November 30th. So we're going to do trade night, huge celebration. We're going to have a lot more details as Imran and I work on that, but very exciting to celebrate 3 years. I can't believe it's been 3 years. And, I would say 95% of our team still from day one, still there, which is great.
Incredible, especially, because Imran's not the easiest guy to work for. So that's really saying a lot for the people that work for him.
Yes. Imran, I did not say that. And I'm waiting for that phone call for him to come in. But no, yeah, so it'll be a good time. And you know how we do trade nights. And, last one we had with Mr. Kevin Herter was fantastic. And
it was unbelievable. I mean, I was just out there, and after a while, just could not get in the store. There were so many people in there wanting to talk.
It was thick.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people. And my favorite instance, somebody was wearing a Croc, and they just pop it off their foot. And they're like, "Here, Kevin, sign my shit." Okay.
And that's the reason why he's been playing so well. Last night wasn't his best game of the young season, but I think because he was out there with you guys, that's re-energized him. That's why he's been shooting the ball so well.
It has. I you know what? I'm glad. And by the way, hands down, and I haven't got to. He was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Guy is just fun and personable, and it was great to have in the shop. So hopefully continue there, and we'll announce some more details coming up. But you know how we do trade nights and events at the shop, and we'll always do something special. So come and check us out. The Dodgers. A little tough for me to celebrate a Dodgers World Series.
I left some in my car. I got to go get it while you're talking about the Dodgers.
Yes. The one thing I can say is, though, Freddie Freeman won the MVP, and I've seen some crazy stuff on his market in the last week or so because of the way he's played. And, you can't help but root for a guy like that. He's just a really personal guy. It's really hard for me to root for a Dodger, but
yeah,
for him, I'm like, yeah.
His son was had some health issues that they figured out, so he's been through it. And yeah, and he was playing, I read today, I don't know if you knew this, we knew he had a sprained ankle. He actually, against the Padres, he tore something in his rib cage, and he played through that as well.
So he was truly Gibby.
Yes.
Playing through injuries.
It was worse than we thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
His dad told him, do not play. His dad wanted him to shut it down. He's like, please stop. Do not keep playing. And he's like, I'm just gonna keep playing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? He wasn't tired. He didn't
need to tap out. No.
I'm a huge Colts fan. That was painful.
Oh boy, that's going to be tough.
Shohei gets his first World Series win, which is great.
He was a little banged up too.
Yep. And, didn't have the best performance, but had a heck in the World Series, but had a heck of a postseason, had a really great season overall. And it's good for him. He gets that box checked in a long line of success he's had so far, and it continues because a lot of big things is like, he never won a title. Like I think Mike Trout, Bryce Harper,
Never even got to the postseason.
Yeah, they'll have that like asterisk of the World Series championship not on there, and it will. They still have time, but as they play more and more, that window gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you just hope because of what they meant to the hobby and collecting that they get that opportunity to do so. We've seen. I was talking about Freddie's Market. Kid came in the other day and had a. Remember, he's an Atlanta Brave. It was a 2011 Topps Chrome rookie, blue bordered. Right. So it's a color match with the Braves a little bit. It's numbered, I think, out of 150. It was a PSA 8. So not the best grade, but still pretty good. But on card autograph, and it said Freddie. It was spelled out. He's got a great auto. And the last few sales were about $450. And he comes in. I said, well, and they were old. They were from earlier in the year. And he goes, I go, what are you looking for? He goes, well, I have a $1,100 offer on eBay right now. And I go, and you didn't take it? You're shopping it around? He's like, yeah, I want to see what better. And I go, you're not like, yeah. The last time it sold was like $400. It's $1,100 right now. Well, yeah, I think I can get a little bit more. I'm like, I would have hit accept as soon as that came through because now you set the market. And I said, you can take that $1,100 after even the eBay fees. So say you walk away with $900, you're going to be able to go back and probably buy that for $500 or $600 6 months from now.
Yeah.
So you'll get the card back and you'll have some money in your pocket. So sometimes you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Did he take your advice?
I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Let's say yes. Let's just say
I really do hope for his sake he did. But what's brought up, Whitey, it's just a lot of, if you've seen like a lot of the commercials, you see the collectibles, like Dodgers World Series merchandise is going to be flooding the market, which is great. You want to celebrate your team's championship. Flags fly forever, and it's always good to have that merch and the hat or the shirt with the World Series. But then they also make these collectibles with team stamped balls or plaques or commemorative magazines of the World Series. Now, you've seen that stuff before. And how do you feel about that as a natural collectible? Do you think it's a manufactured one, or do you think that's something that you would want to hold on to?
To me, if I'm a fan of the team and I want a memento of that season, that unforgettable season, I'm not a Dodger fan, but if it's like, wow, I can always remember all the good feelings I had all year long if I get this fill in the blank book, whatever, magazine. But as far as it having resale value or trying to make money off it, I don't think that'd be wise.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, I'd agree. The big thing part of that is that part of you see all these advertisements and these things coming up, and it's great. It's to remember and remark, hey, remember that year, that season, and all the great things. And that's what it is. It's not really a collectible that in time will make money. It's different than cards. I understand cards are manufactured, but they're manufactured as a collectible as well. But it's kind of like, betting that those guys will go up and they'll do better in their careers and they'll be stars and those cards are worth more money. It's just different when you're celebrating a season of a team. I see it all the time. People bring in tons of 49ers merchandise from all the Super Bowl wins. And when it's cool, it's great. And it remembers that season. It doesn't, it's more of an emotional value than it is a monetary value. And so I just kind of consider, tell people, hey, consider that when you're buying it. It's not the best item to buy, hold, and try to flip later on,
because they're not rare at all.
Correct.
There's
they're gonna make it until even though it's a print run of 5,000. Well, from that company, somebody else might do something similar, and unfortunately, it's just kind of a manufactured shortage or collectibility.
Everybody who wants one is going to get one.
Correct. Yeah.
Therefore, there's no more demand.
Yes.
Therefore, they're not worth anything.
Correct. Yeah, and it harkens back to that year, and so it's just one of those things. I always tell people, hey, collect what you love and what you like, but just know sometimes that it might mean more to you personally than it is going to be financially for you. And there's going to be a lot of stuff out there. And God, watching that parade yesterday, we had it on MLB TV in the shop, and it was on there, and all these Dodger fans came in. And I was like, wow, what happened? This is uncomfortable in here. So I was just making Dodger joke. We were making Dodger jokes, and it was fun all day. And they got it. And hey, congratulations, they have a legitimate World Series, the first since 1988, because 2020 is a little
right.
60 games.
Yeah, that's why they celebrated.
Yeah, and you know what, Freddie, I guess Clayton Kershaw getting a World Series, and
Clayton Kershaw.
We had a really good friend of the shop, Ben Geary. Unfortunately, passed away last year. He been a friend of mine a long time, a huge collector, and he was a huge Clayton Kershaw fan. So I know he would have loved to celebrate that. So I semi-celebrated that for him as well, but it got difficult.
Yeah, the whole thing was difficult. I know this is old news, but picking one of those two teams to root for, and my whole life, virtually my whole life, the Yankees have been, the evil empire.
Yep.
Don't root for them because I like to root for underdogs. So the one time it's like, all right, I'll root for the Yankees. And that's how I'm rewarded.
Yeah, right?
They play like that.
Yeah, I was pulling.
Wow.
Like, people go, Chef, you got to pick who are you going? And I go, I guess it's the Yankees because it's a lesser of two evils for me.
Yeah.
Remind me of never mind.
Well, it's now a new evil empire, right? The Dodgers are basically the new evil empire.
They're becoming what the Yankees were and always have been.
The Yankees are kind of little brothers now. I mean, the Astros beat them up a bunch. Boston's beat them up a bunch. Tampa's beat them up a bunch.
What was it? 2009 was the last World Series. I mean, the Royals have one more World Series wins in the last 20 years than the Yankees do. So
incredible.
That's my entire lifetime. The Yankees have been, secondary to the Red Sox. The Astros took their birthright to championships. The Astros came from the National League to the American League and just started beating them every year.
I see your perspective of the Yankees is very interesting because when I was a kid, they were terrible in the 80s. They were really bad. But then all of a sudden they figured it out. And, but again, they built from within. Mm-hmm. And that's how the Yankees got good. And that's how a lot of these teams the Dodgers went and bought this one, to be honest, And now they're talking about Soto. And I was like, oh, he goes there just.
Yeah. Then they will become
defer.
The Yankees.
The MLB's got to do something about this deferred money. I mean, it's a topic for another day, but, we had a great release this week come out. And I know you opened a little bit, and I'm going to hopefully snag a box today. But 2024 Topps Allen to Ginter came out. It's a great box. Tell us about your experience to open up the 24 packs.
Thank you for setting me up. And it was legit. I paid for it and everything, but they saved one for me, which I appreciate. It's a great set because there's baseball cards, but they're roughly modeled on old tobacco cards in the 1800s, which had baseball players and all kinds of people from all walks of life and even things in nature. So anyway, had a great time opening Halloween with my daughter and her husband and my wife. And I just want to show you a couple of things that we got here, Shep.
Brought in some cards. I love it.
Yeah.
They're all pristine, by the way.
Well, they better
They just
be.
came out of the box.
And I apologize to those listening. This is a Freddie Freeman jersey card, and it's not worth a ton, but it was like, that's a good time to get that
Perfect
card.
time, yeah.
Yeah. This was a autograph, on-card, mini autograph, young shortstop rookie card, Jose Tena, which is, and again, that's not going to break the bank or anything, but that's a nice little card.
Yeah, I always love the framed minis.
Yeah.
They look cool.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what kind of career he has. And there's lots of fun little cards, but these, and I knew that there were dog cards in there and there's bees. I didn't know these were in there, Shep. And when we started opening these, I'm just going to hand them to you. You tell me what you think. These are part of the Allen and Ginter set this year.
Oh, yes. They're like,
they're X-rays, animal X-rays from the Oregon Zoo.
And they're like a chromey kind of card.
Yes.
And then there was I heard they also, I didn't know this because I looked at it, but they had chrome inserts too, which is wild, and like refractors, which I was excited. But yeah, these are interesting because people were like, what? X-rays?
And then we were trying to figure out what is that? A, what is that? And then B, once you figure it out, then it's like, well, what animal is that?
Yeah.
And some of them are pretty easy.
Yeah.
But some of them they're just bizarre, but that's Allen and Ginter. That's what they do.
Yeah, I saw somebody pull out like we talked about before, the fossils. Somebody pulled them, posted on X, and it was just like, yeah, here's a little nugget of a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's a hodgepodge of crazy, like, it's like your crazy aunt. You never know really what's going to happen.
I got a Mel Ott card. I got a Jane Daniels card. I got some influencers that I didn't know, and some X-ray cards, and a bunch of baseball players.
Yeah. My whole hope is one day I get some weird fame to be able to be in an Allen and Ginter. Like they have hot dog eating champions in there. Like, I don't know. Like, I'd somehow love to figure out how to get in there. You said Jaden Daniels. We had a kid that came in yesterday morning with his sister. I think it was his sisters, but he came with two girls. One was his sister, and we have 2 rows of Allen and Ginter on the shelf, and he was buying a box. And I said, all right, you got to pick a row. And so he turns to one of the girls and goes, all right, pick a row. And so she said, right. And he goes to the other girl. I said, no, I box 1 through 5. And she said, box 3. I said, oh, good. 3 is always a lucky number in our shop.
These are hobby boxes?
Hobby boxes, yeah. So I would say, anytime you come in the shop, if we have more than 3 boxes, I would say, or 3 boxes or more, say box 3. It's always lucky. I'm telling you. Know what it is. So he takes it home. And then I see him come back a couple hours later, and he's got a big grin on his face. I go, what happened? What? Something good happened. Like, when are you coming back? And because it's always good when someone comes back a few hours later, or when they go to the car and come back, but he comes back in. I go, what happened? And he just holds it up. It's a mini framed auto of Jaden Daniels. Wow. And, he's looking to sell. We're working out something. There was some closing today. So when product comes out, it's a little fluctuation in the market. And so we're trying to work a deal with him. But, I told him, I was like, man, now are they hooked? He's like, yeah, I think they're into it now, wanting to help me pick out boxes. And they sat and watched him open it. And I'm telling you, like, this is a product can spark that interest, because not only does it hit the sports fan, but it hits that pop culture. Mm-hmm. And we talked before the show, I just imagine if they got Taylor Swift to sign, if they could put her in a product, what that would do with the Swifties and drive that. Cause you see how her merch sells. Like, people are going just and buying truckloads of her stuff to flip. So I can only imagine if we ended up with Taylor Swift in there, what that
Nothing against Taylor Swift. I would still rather have a dinosaur fossil.
Well, I mean, there's but the fact that it still exists, right?
Yeah. They have Amelia Earhart's autograph this year. Obviously not a lot of them, but that's part of the set as well.
Yeah. I just
crazy stuff.
You really honestly never know what you're going to get when you really open Allen & Ginter. And so we have that in the shop. I think it's $125 a box. I
need to buy more. They're great. Yeah.
We got hit up yesterday. I think we've gone through 3 cases, which is about almost 40 boxes at this point. And we got hit up yesterday again by Topps saying, you want more? And we're like, yes. Like, we couldn't reply yes fast enough to saying, yes, send us some more, which is great. It's great. And I think the reason the product sells so well is you experience the fun, but you open as a family. But at $125, and you're going to get 3 autographs or 3 hits, you're going to get maybe you get 3 relic cards, or you're going to get a rip card, or a mixture of the combo.
There's something called storybook cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get something like that, and you get all these different people involved, and it's not going to break the bank, and you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of opening.
Would you open a rip card? I got one last year. Still haven't opened it.
If it's numbered over like 99, yeah. Because usually it's going to be the mini inside's probably just as valuable. When they get lower numbered, that's when you got really good stuff inside. And so sometimes people will go wild for that and think that, oh yeah, that 1/1 auto's in there. And you can actually sell the rip cards. I've done this. I've ripped it open, and the card that I ripped and tore, I actually have sold on eBay for money.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've been confused as to why someone would buy that.
Well, a player collector, team collector that, hey, listen, like I like the guy on the inside. I don't care what's on the inside, because I was never ripped a card. I bought a George Brett ripped one for like $10 one year, because it was like, hey, it's still a George Brett card. And the guy sent all the pieces with it. So I put it into my George Brett collection, and, the little tear tab, it was still with it. And so I, got that in the top loader, but because I'm a big dork for it, but people do buy the ripped cards afterwards. So you can basically get 2 cards for 1.
Wow. Shep, I'm learning here as we're talking. I thought these Allen & Ginter cards, and I love them, I thought they were kind of like off the beaten path, but it sounds like they're really popular.
Yeah, they're getting more popular. I think there's a real big camp there's another product similar to this, Gypsy Queen, which was an old product, tobacco era product that was like this. Now, if you're in one camp, if you like Allen & Ginter, you really don't like Gypsy Queen. If you like Gypsy Queen, you don't like Allen & Ginter.
But they're both tops, right?
Both tops, both look identical, both have minis. Allen & Ginter is just all baseball, but it's so weird. Like, and I find myself, I love Allen & Ginter. Gypsy Queen, it's the same stock in everything.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's honestly, it's like Coke and Pepsi. I mean, if you mirror them up, it's still a soda. It's still, but it's hard to cross over into both. So I'm glad Allen Ginter is getting some love, because it's been one of my favorite products since I got back in about 12 years ago. Crazy how time flies. But come down to the shop, pick up a box. We have AJ and Donovan in the shop today hanging out. But you also can come by for all of your sports card needs here at True Sports Cards. Look no further than us. Whether you're looking to return to collecting, or you're a new collector, or even a current collector, we have all your collecting needs, from the newest releases, hot singles and supplies, autograph memorabilia, and even grading and authentication services. Come by and see for yourself, and you'll wonder why you ever went anywhere else. That's right. That's True Sports Cards and Collectibles. This is today at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland. We're open 10 to 6 today, and we'll be open tomorrow 10 to 5. Even though I won't be there, the shop will still go on. There was a conversation yesterday about someone not being available every day, and I chimed in and said, "Hey, listen, I think if
we're talking about Joel Embiid,
Embiid, and I was waiting to pick up my car, and I was watching on YouTube, so I hopped in the chat, and I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure Emran would not be happy if I took every other day off." And it was funny enough is that you guys said that if I went down, the shop would continue, and it did. I was out for pretty much the 2023 season with numerous health and injury issues, and the shop continued, but it wasn't the shop the way it should be, and it, and now it's back, and we're back in playoff contention.
The shop got bounced in the first round.
We were playing team.
Yeah, playing shop.
Yeah. So no, I just thought that was funny because I wanted to respond, but I had to pick the car up and get back to work. But it was one of those things like, oh, but that actually really did happen. But
the Tyrese Maxey of True Sports Cards kept you guys afloat.
Yes. And that was I guess Emron would have been who's Nick Nurse. The coach, Emron's Nick Nurse.
The cool thing about your shop, and this is true of any place that sells things you really like, but time stands still in there in a way. Like you go in there and you start looking at stuff. I've done this anyway. You're looking at things and you're looking at this, and I want to look at that. Next thing you know, you leave. It's like, oh my goodness, I was in there for an hour and a half. How did that happen? You know?
We have a couple customers that have done that where they've just stopped by after work, to pick up a box or a card from grading, whatever it happened to be, and then they get the text or the call like, hey, where are you?
Yeah.
Aren't you on your way home?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah, I had to make a quick stop. I'll be back. And it's like, dude, I've been here an hour.
Yeah.
What happened? It's just because we're talking sports or they're digging through a box. And that's my favorite thing. We had some guys drive up from Santa Rosa yesterday. And they're like, we're here at the market in Sacs. Awesome. You guys got a bunch of shops up here. And we were the first spot. And they spent, I don't know, a good hour or so in the morning kind of hanging out and experiencing. And they're like, dude, we not. And I said, well, why are you going anywhere else?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, oh, we're heading back down. We're going to go lunch. And I'm like, that's fine. But I want to know, I just kind of wish we'd been the last stop. Mm-hmm. So I could say, hey, what was your experience like? But it's good that people are driving that far. To me, that says something that the words made it out. We were the first spot they came to. And when I was like, grab stuff out of the hot corner, sit down, make yourselves at home and dig through the boxes. People go, oh, we're allowed to do that? I'm like, yeah, why not? And they go, oh, at our shop, like there's not a place. And I'm like, to me, that's so foreign not to have a place to come in and hang out. And, all the older folks will understand Cheers.
Yeah.
Norm.
Yeah.
We have a couple customers that are like that when they walk in. All the guys like, hey, it's Ali. Hey, Ali. Steve, how's it going? Todd.
Name. Yeah.
They come in, we start yelling out names and stuff. And, we try to remember everyone's name and, all the pools they have. And sometimes it's tough, but the fact that they feel comfortable come in and hang out and spend time with us is great. So love to do that. We even had a guy drop off cards yesterday left over from trick-or-treating, some haunted packs.
Oh, yeah.
From the haunted hoops.
I was wondering if people actually gave those out. I know they were marketing them as things you give out on Halloween to trick-or-treaters. I was wondering.
Yeah, a lot of people opened them and, collected them and they were selling them. But yeah, he was giving them out that was his. And he said he walked across the street to say hi to a neighbor, and he left them on the doorstep. And he said one kid went up and grabbed a handful, and he's like, "That's fine," but he's like, the kid got spooked. He's like, "Oh, dude, enjoy. Here's some more." And I love it. Just kind of growing the hobby. What a smart way to. I love that Panini came up with that and put that out there for the holidays, and like it just puts it. Oh man. Cards that parents see cards or kids are like, oh, what are this? And they get into it and maybe you get some new collectors out of it. So it's all about trying to grow that and grow the kids. So I love to see that. We talked earlier a little bit about quarterbacks and my guy Anthony Richardson tapping out because he was tired, which you don't say the quiet thing out loud.
How did you become a Colt / Anthony Richardson fan?
So grew up in Kansas when I was a kid, and my first favorite football team and player, Barry Sanders and the Detroit Lions, because my grandpa coached Barry Sanders up until his junior year in high school, and he retired and was the athletic director still, and helped him get recruited to Oklahoma State. And so I got to meet Barry in third grade, hold the Heisman, and all this stuff. And so I got this great photo of me and Barry, and his smile at. Just like he and Keegan Murray could have a smile off and no one would win. It was great. And so I was a huge Lions fan. Well, he retired like that summer, I'm done, and just left football. And I was like, and it was because of the way the Lions were. And I was going into college and I was just so burnt by that. And I was like hurt, and Peyton Manning was coming in the NFL and I'd always loved Peyton. And then I was like, well, you know what? I love Peyton. I'm going to root for Peyton Manning now. Just pick a guy. And he was a Colt. They weren't good. And I started rooting for him. And then I started playing fantasy football a few years later. And the Colts were really good at fantasy football.
Sure. Yeah.
Ken Dilger, and then they, Dallas Clark and Wayne and Marvin Harrison and Edge and Falk even and Peyton. So Just fell in love with those guys, and I became a Colts fan, and it just kind of stuck. I was never a Chiefs fan. Everybody finds that weird.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Did never like the Chiefs. Even now, like my sister and my mom are huge Chiefs fans, and hey, good for them. But I was just, for whatever reason, I mean, as a kid, never a Chiefs fan. And my dad wasn't a Chiefs fan, so I think that's probably why. I never knew if he really had a football team, because when I remember, we always rooted for the Lions as a Barry. But kind of an interesting way of coming a Colts fan. So it kind of hurt. Like, you just don't play when you're a quarterback of a team. You could have just said anything. Hey, I felt a tweak, a twinge.
Right.
Anything's better than I was tired. And I just want to make sure I was good because I want to be here for the team.
I was going to say it's pretty tough being a Colts fan at this point, but you kind of upgraded. Going from Lions to Colts is kind of an upgrade for the last 25 years.
It is. And I even dug out my old starter jacket from the 90s that they've remade now, and they're putting out and everybody's buying them. But I have the original OG starter jacket, the flap and the buttons. And I found it the day of the NFC title game. And so I was wearing it around. It fits still from high school.
Huh, that's fun.
Which is awesome. I got it like my freshman year of high school. It still fits.
So this is perfect for you. You are a Detroit Lions fans for only the perfect time.
Yeah,
to be
but I just rooted for him, and then I rooted for him, and they lost in the NFC title game. So I took it off. I was like, I can't do that to the Lions fans anymore. I can't be a bandwagon guy. I was pulling for him because
is it silver or is it blue? Silver.
It's
right?
blue. Yeah, well, it's blue with some silver.
Okay.
It's just great, and the fact that I was like, that I still had it was awesome. And I really hope that they do well. They have a soft spot in my heart. I want them to get at least get to the Super Bowl.
Got an interesting game tomorrow.
Yes, they do. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Richardson, he's 22 and benched, right? I saw this on Twitter. Sam Block tweeted this out, and he went through quarterbacks. Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick, 23. He's benched. He's playing now only because Andy Dalton got in a car wreck. Trey Lance, 24, benched and traded. Justin Fields, 25, bench, traded. Will Levis, 25. He said bench, but also too, he's dealing with some injury stuff. So there's that. Zach Wilson, 25, benched, traded, third string in Denver. Tough when you're that
would
young.
they really go to Stidham before Zach Wilson at this point?
I believe I think Stidham's number 2 on the depth.
That's brutal.
Mac Jones, 26 and benched, traded as well. Kenny Pickett, 26, benched, traded. All first round picks, except for Levis, high second round pick there. I think he was the first or second pick of the second round. But the NFL has a quarterback developmental problem. I've seen a lot of guys talk about this. And between Matthew Stafford, 2009, Patrick Mahomes, 2017 draft classes, only 3 of the 20 first-round quarterbacks made a Pro Bowl in the first 2 years. Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Goff, all number 1 overall picks. We've seen Mahomes sat his rookie year. He played the last game against the Broncos. Alex Smith played that entire year. Carson Palmer sat his entire rookie year, played behind John Kitna. Phillip Rivers, first 2 years, he played in 4 games in his first 2 seasons, and they were mop-up duty. Those guys all had brilliant careers in the NFL and would say, like, we would want these guys on this list to be those guys. Not many times can you walk in and play right away in the NFL. I think we've done a disservice in these guys and letting them play, but it's hurt their card market. It's tremendous how fast. Even CJ Stroud, we looked yesterday, you would say he's probably one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So Donruss Optic, which is the Chrome version of their base product of Donruss, a hollow, which is this parallel, which is everybody's chases. Beginning the season, a raw one was selling in the neighborhood of $200. You want to know what it's selling for in the last 6 weeks? Since the season started, he's played well. The team's 6-2 or 6-3 now. They lost on
play well Monday, but he's
played decently well, right?
Yes.
Down to $75. And they're a winning team. And he's had 2 clunkers. And this is even before the game the other night on Halloween where it was a clunker, where he didn't look great and they didn't play well. But it's fallen in, and to me, it's just shocking. I think that we need to look back and realize sometimes maybe we don't need to go super hard on these guys right away. But I feel it's overall kind of hurting collecting as these collectors go out there and they're spending hundreds of dollars hoping these guys are Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, and they end up being, Zach Wilson, right? They end up panning out, and or Blake Bortles, like he even had like a little bright spot there, but then it just and now the market falls and we're moving on to the next guy.
I had a Mac Jones, I still have it, Silver Prism rookie, and after his first season, it was worth around, people were getting like $200 for it. And there were reports as they went to camp that the reports said, oh, he doesn't look good. He doesn't look good. And I remember asking somebody, maybe I should sell this card. What do you think? They're like, yeah, maybe you should. I never did. And of course, the value just plummeted. But the other side of that coin, I was looking into this today. A guy named Brian Cass tweeted this: Caleb Williams, 22 starter. Jaden Daniels, 23 starter. CJ Stroud, 23 starter. Brock Purdy, 24 starter. Bo Nix, 24 starter. Technically. Trevor Lawrence, 24 starter. Jordan Love is 25. Jalen Hurts, 26. Herbert's 26. Tua's 26. Burrow, 27. Murray, 27. Lamar Jackson, 27. Those guys are all starting. So it's easy to just focus on the guys that haven't, panned out yet and say, oh, they got a big problem. I think the problem is teams I think they overdraft some of these guys, and they're so anxious, Shep, to go out and find, we got to get a franchise quarterback that, well, he's got to be the guy because he's available. And sometimes I just think they roll the dice and they risk too much on guys that we're not sure how good they are.
And you said Jordan Love, we forgot to put him on those lists. He sat for a couple of years behind Aaron
Good
Rodgers.
Point. That's
and they quote wasted a pick to take him when Rodgers was still in his prime. Big thing is everybody forgets when Rodgers was set to start, when they got rid of Favre that year, the first year Aaron Rodgers was going to start, the second round pick of the Green Bay Packers, quarterback Brian Braum from Louisville. Even the Packers didn't know that Aaron was the guy that they thought. They took this guy in the second round, hedging their bet that if he doesn't pan out, we have another guy. I think that we have a developmental problem with these quarterbacks where it was great. Like there was a thing by Ryan Leaf, ultimate bust guy. He'll even tell you, yeah, I was great. I just didn't put the work in. I messed up. And he said, he looks at Anthony Richardson was the example. And he goes, I see the talent. Kid's amazing. Because I think you could have gotten in the third round based on it. He's not ready to play NFL style football because of the limited play he had in college. And sometimes we see these guys play college. They play 10 games in college. Maybe they play 15.
They shouldn't have drafted him as high as they did. I said that at the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand, go get your quarterback. If you believe in a guy and you think you can. The Chiefs did that with Mahomes. They traded 2 first rounders to move up, but he went 10th in a draft where Mitch Trubisky went number 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Trubisky goes 2.
Yes.
Like,
there you go.
Even the Niners passed on him twice because they traded from 2 to 3. And they could have taken him at 2 or 3, and they go, oh, no, because we're going to go sign Kirk Cousins next year. We're going to pass. We didn't even research Mahomes. And to me, it's that mindset of like, we got to see what these guys are. And I think with collecting them, it's buyer beware because, yes, there's a laundry list of guys that have been awesome. There's also the same amount that have been bust on the other side. I think it really depends on where they go and how that franchise is set up for them to play. I was scared to death for Daniels going to the Commanders. Look at their history, but again, what's changed there? They have a new owner. They have a 49ers front office guy, and was Adam Peters, right? Went over there, ran the team. And so you've seen what the 49ers have done. They've built, and Adam Peters has brought a lot of new faces in there.
They have a more solid foundation.
And they're building up. And so now to get that quarterback of that piece, now they didn't have to trade. They were just so terrible. They ended up with the second pick. But now they're able to build that. And so you kind of have to look at other things than just the player's name and stats. You look at Bama, 5-star linemen across the board, 5-star receivers, 5-star tailbacks, 5 stars on defense everywhere you can look. First rounders around. Doesn't mean the quarterback's going to translate into the NFL. Ken Dorsey was the quarterback of the greatest team probably in college football history. I think Miami at one point, a team he quarterbacked, and they won a title in the early 2000s. I think, and I could get this wrong, I think there were 15 or 17 first-round picks on that Miami team.
At least 3 Hall of Famers that I can name off the top of my head.
Yes. And he was the quarterback of this team. He was the guy running everything. He was the general. And he's an offensive coordinator. His career he was a 7th round pick, I think, by the Niners, and he went to Cleveland. I think he got a handful of starts.
Didn't have the strongest arm, as I recall.
But he was this guy on this great team and put up these great stats.
Right.
But the NFL realized, he's not made for the NFL. But now we see these guys, and they don't have the stats, and they don't have the starts, but they have this tremendous arm talent, but they don't have the coaching behind it. And you kind of have to, what I'm trying to get at is when you're collecting these quarterbacks and these young guys, you have to look at the program around them, where they were and where they're going, because that's going to affect their collectability. And sometimes they can't overcome their circumstance of where they go. And it's like Sacramento used to be with draft, like Billy Owens didn't want to come be a king because it was like what they called Siberia, right? When they was back in the 90s coming to Sacramento, it was not a place you wanted to get traded to or drafted by. And
if I had a team and I had a bad offensive line and I had a quarterback I took really high, I wouldn't play him until I had a better line.
Yeah, that'd be the first thing. You got to protect that investment, right?
Yes,
It's not like you're going to throw out, playing chess, leave my queen unprotected, right? Just like, hey, go at it.
Yeah.
Like it can ruin too many careers. So it's just one of those things is buyers beware, just understand what you're getting into. And sometimes it's really tough to buy the hype. And
how high are you on the quarterbacks, the rookie crop right now?
I'm pretty good. Like,
Daniels, I would be all in on him.
I think watching him play, and I think Caleb's had a lot of eyeballs on him. He's gotten better every week, which is great. Drake May's played pretty well. I even like Bo Nix, and you said, friend, but you know what? They have a winning record in Denver. He's played decent. They're not great, but the thing is they had kind of enough. You can kind of see it happening, and I think they just need some more line protection for him. The defense has played really well, which has helped. I think if you have a good defense and a decent offensive line with the rookie quarterback, you're going to be okay because you can find the other pieces. But it's promising. I was very excited about the 21 class because I really thought Fields going to Chicago was going to be a game changer for them. I was a huge T-Law fan. Even now, I've kind of backed off and gone, maybe T-Law has all the pedigree. Like, again, number one guy out of high school, number one guy coming out of college, played all these great teams, goes to Jacksonville. He's even played decently well, but they just haven't built, and you just don't see him growing like you think you should.
I would argue that the pandemic potentially really curbed the development of all those guys.
Yeah.
I think Trey Lance is probably the greatest example because they didn't play.
Yeah. He didn't have an opportunity to play, and he came out because his draft stock was going to get high. And it's like, you don't blame a guy for doing that.
No.
Because you got to strike. It's like selling a card. You got to strike when the iron's hot. And with these quarterbacks, like if I was pulling these guys' autographs, I'd be selling them instantly. And the reason being is that's when the market's the hottest. You don't want to be left holding the potato, and that's how I kind of
I have some James Wiseman cards. I'll sell you if you want. Speaking of.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I'll trade you my Marvin Bagley for your James Wiseman. But like that's the thing is like we all want to believe, especially if it's our team, that's going to be the guy because we want to pin our hopes on it. And unfortunately, sometimes I think we overlook the situation of the guys, or they just put in a bad spot.
It's funny because there were so many people around here, especially as you get closer to the Bay, they were so sure about Trey Lance.
Yeah.
They were so sure about him.
Yeah. And that was happening. I remember that it was the first time I actually got to go out and it was right after the pandemic. It was like the kind of things that opened up. My friend Matt and I went to Buffalo Wild Wings in Roseville to watch the draft because we were like, oh, we always watch it at someone's house. But we're like, we've been inside so long. Let's go out and watch it. He's a huge Ohio State guy and a huge Niner guy. And he's sitting there like, Justin Fields is going to be our quarterback. Like, and it was Matt, and everybody's telling Mac Jones, like, oh God, please don't let it be Mac Jones because he just rotted on the bench at Bama until like nobody else was left. And it's like today, who's left? Oh, Shep can host the show. Let's put him in.
But that's the college football. That's the Ken Dorsey thing you're talking about. College football is weird that way, where you don't have to have an excellent quarterback to succeed, which is how you end up with the fact that 25% of college football champions the last 16 years are either Tim Tebow or Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
Terrible quarterbacks.
But they're great college guys, but they just don't translate to NFL.
Exactly.
By the way, from what I've heard, I don't know for a fact, but I believe the narrative that Kyle Shanahan really wanted McCorkle and had to be talked out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah, they traded up and they couldn't justify trading up to get Mac Jones
But I think that's who Shanahan wanted, and they had to talk him out. I think he really liked Mac Jones.
And they could have gotten him at 12, which is the stinky part of it.
And how much they gave up to get up there
and they're still feeling that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just because, fortunately, they've drafted really well after their first round.
They draft upside down.
Yes.
Yeah. The guys they take later, great. The guys in the first round, like Trey Sermon.
Yeah. But some of these other guys are like, dude, okay. Like they find they've had some wonders down there. And so good for them. They balance it out. But yeah, like it's that situation. Just kind of look around and see what else is there. Cause there's more to the pie than just the guy, right? Just the name or what you think he's going to be. Because think if Mahomes went 2 in that draft to the Bears and Trubisky goes to the Chiefs. Is Trubisky the guy we're chasing? Is Trubisky a 3-time Super Bowl? Maybe he's a 5-time and he wins those other ones. The NFC title game or the AFC title game they lost to the Bengals. He wins that.
I guarantee you Mahomes is not Mahomes, though.
No,
If-
yeah.
I don't think Trubisky becomes Mahomes or
Yeah.
whatever, but I would bet you that the development byproduct of it is like having Andy Reid, having those coaches that probably did a number on Patrick Mahomes'
And
early
also,
development.
too, not and sitting and watching a pro like Alex Smith, who had a different offensive coordinator like every year of his career till he got with Andy Reid in Kansas City.
Yeah, he
You
gave, as you probably know, he gave Alex Smith a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Mahomes did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like Drew Bledsoe is a hero in the Brady family because of what he did for Tom growing up as a quarterback. And even though Tom took his job and took him to a Super Bowl, and Bledsoe was the guy. I mean, he was the $100 million quarterback, and the 6th rounder comes in and all of a sudden does what he can't do. But Bledsoe was helping this kid out. And even Giselle says, oh yeah, like there's nobody greater in our family than Drew Bledsoe. And you're like, Dad's Tom Brady, but the kid's hero is Drew Bledsoe. Okay. But that shows what like a veteran quarterback can do in that situation, understands kind of what's going on.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Bledsoe ends up moving on to Buffalo and Dallas. But
By the way, I asked him once, I was doing an interview with Drew Bledsoe, and I asked him, what is the hardest thing about playing quarterback that most of us never realize? He said, there are so many decisions you have to make as a quarterback before the ball's even snapped.
Yeah.
He said, you wouldn't believe it.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Before the ball's even snapped.
Well, and I even saw a clip, Greg Olson. I think he's the best spin Tom Brady. He should be the number one guy because Tom Brady's like mayonnaise. He's it's all right.
Yeah.
He's no flavor. And Greg Olson, and he was talking about, he's like, I coach middle school, our middle school team here, or middle school kids. And he goes, 8 of the 10 teams we played don't go under center ever. He goes, the teams that won, we go under center, we win play action. These kids have no idea what's going on because it takes all the pressure off the quarterback, because in these shotgun, you just snap it back and you throw it. Because we're doing this in Pop Warner high school and college, and they get to the NFL, and now we have to go to shotgun in the NFL because they don't understand how to take a snap under center, and it's just we're not developing these guys in the right way. So that all leads into watching the quarterback. Says maybe you can find the guy that plays under center, that's played in multiple different offenses and goes to a good team or a good situation. That's kind of how you could find a sneaky good quarterback. Brock Purdy was right in our eyes. I mean, he played 4-year starter out of school, played under center, played in a really robust offense with Breece Hall. They were successful. They did well. And he comes to a team with an offensive-minded head coach with a really good offense, a spot where he was going to get to sit and learn the NFL. And then when he goes in there and plays well, we should not have been shocked as much as we were, even though he's the last pick of the draft. It just says something about those little factors mean something to a guy and how they can develop into a real quarterback. Because Mahomes ran that wild Texas Tech offense. And that none of the Texas Tech quarterbacks has translated ever to the NFL. He's the only one that ran that Mike Leach system. Really, he and Gardner Minshew are the only 2 Mike Leach quarterbacks that have actually really done a lot in the NFL. And Gardner's not much. I mean, I'd take him as my backup, but Mahomes had that year to sit and learn the NFL and how to play in the NFL. And I think that's a huge thing. So just kind of just like my little PSA of how to collect quarterbacks and what to look for. Tons of good guys. But again, if you find a guy and you believe in him, go for it. But we had a guy that believed in Trey Lance and traded away Justin Herbert. So,
yeah,
tough.
Drake May, in or out as a collectible? I'd be in right now.
I'm putting my toe in a little bit with Drake May. I just would love them to have some kind of an offensive receiver, because since Randy Moss and Julian Edelman, like the Patriots and receivers, it's like the Giants developing an outfielder. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while, right? So hopefully it happens. I have some questions for you as a collector. So a lot of people always talk about autographs, and that's always the chase in collecting. And there's a couple different ways you can get autographs. When you open a box and you have the on-card autograph on your mini relic, which is great. A little tough to put a sticker on those guys. But you have the sticker autographs, and a lot of times you'll see too with the more famous the players get, there's more stickers. And again, how much money do you have to pay a guy that makes $50 million a year to sign his name on trading cards? Like 10,000, 50,000, does that even move the needle for them? Right. It's like, hey, Whitey, will you come in and do the show with me today? I'm going to get you, I'll take you down and treat you at the gas station real quick and buy you a soda pop or something. Right. So it's like, you have to entice these guys. So when you pull a card out of a pack and it's
a sticker autograph or on card? What do you prefer?
I prefer
if you had an autograph.
Yeah, I prefer on card. But to be honest, when I got back into this 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was now, I didn't even realize when I'd get an autograph card, which, you know, is kind of rare. And at that time, especially, I was getting retail, so I didn't get a lot of autographs. I didn't even realize they were on stickers. And then, you know, you read more about it. It's like, oh, this is an on sticker as opposed to on card. And then when you sell something on eBay, you know, you have to stipulate. I didn't even realize that was a thing. So I don't really mind on sticker. I understand why on card is better. And this is one of, if not the first on card I ever got, as you mentioned, on the mini from the Allen and Ginter I just opened. But I don't ever look at it, depending on the player, of course. I don't look at it and go, oh, it's on a sticker. I mean, to me, an autograph is an autograph for the most part.
I've seen people do that.
Really?
Now, I understand a high-end product when you're spending $1,000 on a box, unless the guy's passed away or is doing time. There shouldn't be a reason it's on sticker. And I understand some of the mid to lower end products. I love it. It should be. And there's two factors. A lot of people get upset when it's a sticker auto, but I tell them, I said, listen, when the guys are signing these cards, and I've seen at our shows, when we have the guys come, a lot of the times when they are doing a signing at a show publicly, they do backroom stuff. But some of that is signing cards for the actual companies, Panini or Topps. This past May, I saw Ricky Henderson signing a bunch of cards. I saw Dennis Rodman signing cards in person on card, which is amazing to see. But what happens is these guys are sliding the cards across. Mm-hmm. The players handling the cards.
Yeah.
The guy helping the player sign the cards is touching them. There might be a third person. There's a lot of people touching these cards. And so that can affect condition. So when you go to grade it, it might not be a 10. It might be a 9 now just because it's been slid around the surface. Because these guys they're just trying to sign as fast as they can. When they're signing sticker, they're just signing their face off on the stickers, and later on, someone's going to take the time to place the sticker on hopefully correctly and straight.
I think somebody here told me that one time they happened to see when Doug Christie was working here, and he was, you know, when he was on the air between parts of the show, he was doing the stickers.
Yeah.
Which you can understand, much more efficient.
Yeah. And it allows, like Kobe would tell Panini, hey, he had exclusive. I will sign 1 day a year. I will set aside a day for you guys. And so they would bring him a bunch of cards to sign and stickers to sign, and they would then use that for product throughout the year. Which is great. The fact that, you know, hey, listen, I understand with this partnership, I need to do this part. But again, it's so you have to think about that as a collector is like, yeah, you might not prefer the sticker auto on your card, but the condition of your card probably is going to be better.
How much does the value really
I don't think it matters.
Swing.
I don't think it really, I think it's a personal preference thing. I think it's on higher end products, say like Flawless, National Treasures, Immaculate, some of those higher end products. People get a little disappointed but it is what it is. You're not going to find where it's half sticker, half on card. It's going to be all the way. I would say 99.99% of the time. There's probably one chance out there that happens, but I just think it's a personal preference. To me, it doesn't make that big of a difference. I'd rather have the card be in great condition and have a sticker auto than be on card and have a ding and maybe possibly get a 9. There's also the in-person auto. So going to the Kings game and before shoot around, and De'Aaron comes over and signs your card for you, or you go to the baseball game, and I was always big about that. I would love getting autographs at the baseball game as a kid. One of my favorite things to do. And those autographs typically are slightly different than when the guys sign cards professionally because they're doing a little shorter autograph, or they usually have about 2 different autographs than in person and more of a, you know, signing, an official like signing autograph. But I what are your feelings on the in-person autos, and if they get slabbed by PSA as far as being authenticated, or just not slabbed, but hey, look, here's a picture I took with this guy. How do you feel about that? So say, you know, you had the opportunity to buy a Willie Mays autograph, and you can buy an in-person autograph that's been PSA DNA'd, or one that was pack pulled, but your PSA DNA is a little less expensive. Does it matter to you?
It matters to me, and I'm probably definitely in the minority here. If I take someone's time, if it's at a game, now if it's different if it's at a show where that's why they're there. But if I get an autograph from someone at the stadium or arena, you know, when they're doing other things, they're nice enough to sign. I feel like I should keep that.
Yeah,
I feel like because that person signed that for me, and it's like a keepsake of that moment. And just me personally, I wouldn't feel right selling that. Like, hey, sign this so I can make money.
Yeah.
But I know, you do you. So to me, that would be the difference for me. If someone signed something for me at a game, I personally don't feel right selling that.
What about as a consumer and buying it? So say you're in the market for a De'Aaron Fox autograph, and you could do one that's in person and it's authenticated, or you can do one that's pack pulled. Which to you,
I would look at the signature and see if there's any difference.
Any difference?
It seems to me I don't know because guys, either way, they're kind of in a hurry, right? But some of those, like Emron brought in an Andre Dawson signed, I forget what it was, tops, some kind of tops. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing if having to get one from him at the stadium or something, and now he's not playing, I realize it probably wouldn't look quite that nice.
Yeah.
I'd like a pretty one.
It looks like it's printed.
Yes.
He and Raleigh Fingers and Freddie Freeman look like they print. And when we did signing with Raleigh, I asked him and he goes, my mom was an English teacher.
Oh.
And she made sure my penmanship was perfect. He goes, or I got the ruler. And I was like, dang.
Wow.
And she was very strict. And so he's like, I always think about that when I signed my autograph. And if you look way back when to today, his autograph is consistently the exact same.
Wow.
But there are people that they don't like that in-person auto. They look at it as less than. To me, it's greater because the actual player.
Yeah.
At some point in time, took time out of his day or her day to sign that card for somebody, and it was in their hand, and they signed it. And to me, it
seems more genuine in a way.
It does, right? And so I have some of those in the in-person autos from when we've done the signings at the shows, and I look back in my collection to find, like, I have one that's dual signed by Dan Issel and Rick Barry.
Wow.
And I'm like, two of the greatest scorers in ABA and NBA history, Hall of Famers. And they're right. And I got to meet them, but now I can go back and tell a story of individually when I met those guys and some fun backstories on them. So, it's preference. And like I said, collect what you like to collect. That's my biggest motto. If I wore on a shirt, it'd be collect what you enjoy. Don't let anybody else influence your collection, because I see that like a lot of bullying, like, oh, your collection, like it's not so much with the kids. It's with like the adults. Like, oh, you collect that.
Really?
Well, yeah, I enjoy collecting my Kansas City Royals base cards.
Yeah.
Why? They're not valuable. They're not Pat Mahomes rookies out of 10. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I also have two
from a whole different.
I have two kids, a mortgage, a car payment. I work for Emron. So it's I get paid in sandwiches. So I get, but I enjoy the Royals. That's the thing. And it's like, that's my biggest pet peeve, I think, in the hobby.
If you want to have an MJ Melendez base card, then you get an MJ Melendez base card.
I'm going to go buy one today just because of that. So,
yeah.
I think I have a Danny Tartable rookie card you can have.
See, Danny. I got to meet Danny the Tartable when I was a kid. Danny Tartable and Kevin Seitzer and 1980, the winner of, and Mark McGuire, the winner of 1987, or it might have been January of 88, but it was after that 87 season. I got to meet all three of those guys at a show when I was a kid, and it was all right when I first got collecting. I had no idea what the heck we were doing, but I got to meet these guys. Still have those today, and some of my favorite things about collecting, even though it's like Danny Tartable, who's nobody. Like you just said, a bunch of people went, who? He was on Seinfeld. Let's say that he was famous enough to be a Yankee and on Seinfeld.
He was really good here and there.
Yeah, and he could hit the ball a mile.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't like Kevin Seitzer because he made George Brett move to first base. I didn't know baseball then. I was 7. So, but Whitey, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you today.
Yeah,
Thank you. I
me.
think this has probably been. I'm looking here. The ratings say it's been the best rated show ever of all time. I know what was
really
different,
right? Not really surprised.
No, yeah, I mean it's us, right? So. Maybe more Saturdays will be Emron or without Emron. I don't know. Shep and Whitey. I kind of like it. Let's see what happens. But I appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. Listen to the shop. Come down, check us out. AJ and Donovan are down there. 6661 Stanford Ranch Road. You always call us at 916-259-1993. Coming. I'm going to be at the shop here in a little bit. And
have a good trip.
Yeah, I'm excited. Disneyland. Hopefully I make it back. This last time I went, not so good for me. Last time Emron was down there, we had a little break in. So this we're tempting fate this week. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Maybe the gods will be with us. Maybe the Kevin Huerter signing will protect us all.
Yes.
Who knows? But again, I love been sitting in your seat. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
Yeah, thank you.
This, to be honest, I gotta say, we'll pull the curtain back a little bit. as a kid listening to this station, this has been a dream to sit in this chair and host in the studio and do this. So I appreciate Emran for allowing me to do it today. Waddy, appreciate you allowing me to do the show. Kyle behind the glass, I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you guys. Come down to the shop and we'll help you collect, and we'll see you next week.
Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Give your family a real treat